getting kicked out.
Yeah,
Uh,
like
Oh.
he got full kicked out of like Riverside and everything. It was
mm,
so weird. And then he came back and he was like echoey voices. It was
it
wild.
was- yeah, I figured out it was the docking station I had.
Ah,
It just for some reason started disconnecting. So I've gone and got my old one, which is a cheaper piece of equipment, but it
mm-hmm.
works. So that's how it's going to stay. All right. So I'll just publish that now. And once this goes, then I will go ahead and do the intro. Oh, God, Christ, that's annoying. That's loud. All right. Okay. So if you guys are ready,
Ready.
Ready
all
as
right
I'll
then,
ever be.
let's do this shit. Welcome everybody to Too Legit to Crit, a tabletop role-playing podcast made for those people who have more sets of dice than functional relationships. So I think
Did you just
we're
say
all
functional?
yes.
Now, do you mean like as a whole throughout my life? Are you talking about like the fact that my relationship with my mother is dysfunctional? Like, what exactly are we talking about here?
functional.
I don't know. I threw some words together.
Okay, perfect.
Like
Yeah,
at no
my fault. My fault for questioning things.
God,
at
how
no
dare.
point was I sat there kind of going, I want to make a statement with this. It's like I want. You know what this show is good for? Making people think.
Well, okay, no, actually, hold on though. My dice were really good to me this weekend, like
Oh,
insanely good to me. So I appreciate it. You know what? Hold on, let me hold up my dice. They're beautiful. Thank you for being so good to me and not letting my character die.
yeah, that is an important thing. Yeah. Was your character now? Was your character close to dying, or was it that you just had an amazing session, you rolled amazingly, etc., etc.?
She got shot in the stomach.
Ooh.
Okay.
Um,
Now, we talking about comic book style shot in the stomach where like you can still survive, or we talking about like real life
real life
in the
shot in
stomach?
the stomach.
Well, then you can't survive that.
Oh, but that's the beauty of mage is like as long as you've got enough dots in life magic in the life sphere, you can.
There you go.
You know, okay, so as a scientist and specifically a biologist, I spend a lot of time thinking about healing magic and how that works.
Mm-hmm.
Cuz like what is going on? Because okay, so first of all, the way like proteins all interact, like the speed at which things go on in your body is crazy. How quickly, like, you don't even like, it is so hard to conceptualize how fast things are moving around. And you know, like when they say like such and such protein is being released to signal to such and such protein, like the thing is it's not like coming out and going straight to the other thing. It's just flapping around all over the place until it like hits the next thing that it needs to hit at exactly the right like speed and orientation. So basically, like in your body, in your cells, things are just like free for all. Like think of like a mosh pit except like 1,000 times faster. And like that's what your cells look like on the inside. And so I just have questions about rapid healing.
Yeah,
Well,
so like Mage is an interesting game where you basically bend reality with your magic, and sometimes it is what we like to call vulgar, which means the universe knows that you're not supposed to do that. So then it gives you a point of paradox, and paradox is really bad. Paradox
Hmm.
means crazy shit happens. Yeah.
But I think that is a very valid question from Zoop, though, because, you know, all these books and all these systems that we play, and we're going to kind of hark back to the ones that people know the most, where it's like, all you see in a book is, okay, so what this spell does, this spell recovers hit points or removes wounds, etc., etc. But there's no actual sort of pseudoscience behind it. There's nothing that kind of explains it, and you as a player or you as a GM are kind of left to fill in those blanks.
Mhm.
So I think it's not more of a question of how it works in these systems. It's how do you, as a player or as a GM, envision it to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how do you come to terms with it? And why is it that rapid healing bothers me more than shooting lightning out of your hand?
Well,
Like,
lightning can
that I
kind of be
never questioned.
explained because like the human body is kind of like a battery. So like lightning makes
Or
a lot of sense to
fire,
me.
or fire,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
or you know, frost. Like,
Maybe
I-
it's because you know so much, it is harder to suspend belief.
right. I'm like,
And not only that, I think there is a social implication of it as well. You know, you think of these spells, you think of like shooting like to use your example, shooting lightning out of your hands, etc., etc. That is a spell that has very limited use. That is something that you either want to harm something, you want to damage something. That's what that spell is used for. However, if we kind of look at healing magic, so if people have the ability to mystically heal, why the fuck do doctors exist in that world?
Yeah.
You know, I think that creates a certain level of disbelief of kind of going, okay, so if these people, you know, why if I'm let's say to go to your traditional fantasy systems, I'm a cleric who has, you know, these abilities that can heal people, I can remove diseases, all this sort of thing. Why am I going to bother going adventuring? Why don't I just go from town to town as a healer and charge people for it?
right. And what does it take out of you to heal? Like, why are there so few healers out of there? Like, what does it take out of them to heal? And then shape changing is the other thing that I have a real issue with. Like,
Hmm.
I love shape changing.
but like, how? How?
So, okay, I can kind of talk about this. I kind of can't, and it's that weird gray area of pre-record things that aren't out for the internet yet.
Okay.
I have a character who has the ability through different formulas to change the way they look rapidly.
Right.
It's something that they've been working on for a while, and they've been doing like different concoctions to figure it out. The downside to using this formula is it actually gives her damage.
Hmm.
Like she takes a point of damage from it because the process of it is so fucking painful.
It's visceral, it's painful.
Mhm.
It's I saw something recently which had a sort of shape changing element to it, and it was horrific. I think it was
Mythcraft is horrific. I don't know if any of y'all have read through Mythcraft.
no.
Oh my god, there is a class in there that literally you take apart other people's bodies and stitch it to yourself, and that's what
Ooh.
you use to like shape
Hmm.
change or give yourself a set of wings or whatever. It is horrifically cool.
Yeah, I think
Like
it's.
my
I think
little body horror brain is like, that's fucking awesome.
yeah, I think there's a show on Disney Plus. I think it's like The Beauty or The Beautiful or something like that. Which has this sort of, shape changing, or people, they take this drug or whatever, they become quote unquote beautiful, and it is a horrifying process.
I also another thing with shape change, especially when it's like you're changing your look, because first of all, shape change to like a dinosaur, that's one issue. But there's also like when you change your face to somebody else's face, like when you use like Mask of Many Faces or whatever. I'm not talking about disguise self because that's just an illusion. I'm saying like when you actually change your body. Like I can imagine, like, let's say I look at Juan and I'd be like, okay, I want my nose to look a certain way, and I want my eyes to be a certain color, and I want like the facial hair to come in. But like, when they do like the scanning of your eye,
Hmm.
and like I shouldn't be able to change
No, that is a
that
fair
to it,
point. Mm.
or like my fingerprints should still be those fingerprints, unless like I think that those things should level up. Like I don't think your voice should change unless you do like a lot of work to learn how your vocal structure would need to change to be able to replicate the voice that you're hearing.
There
Mhm.
is, I think, at least in Pathfinder, there was a caveat to the I can't remember what spell it was, where it says you look physically like the person. It says, but that is the only change.
Yeah.
So you don't. So it
Mm.
is not necessarily an illusion. You are physically changing, but at the same time, it's not changing your voice. It's not changing certain things. But to kind of go off what you're saying, if it is something that's based on perception, if it is, because everybody's perception is slightly different, does that mean if I turn into you, for example, Zoop, I turn into what my mind is seeing right
Love
now,
you.
and that's including the lighting that you're in? So all of a sudden, if you switch your light to red, does that
Yeah.
mean when I change, I'm using that image as my baseline?
And then
Hmm.
how do your clothes change? Like, I mean, sure, if you
Oh,
have
I
like
always
a
play it that
magic.
they don't.
Hmm?
I always
No, they
play it
don't.
like I've
Yeah,
I've
no.
ever every GM, every DM that I've ever played under is like your clothes
Oh,
don't change.
okay, but if I decide to make myself a size 11 foot man, what happens
Guess
to my
what?
shoes?
They rip.
They rip. You Hulk out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like one of those
you.
moments you take it and you're just like, oh, rip off my clothing.
Yeah,
I love
there's got
how
to be
I
some
love
thought
that
for it.
I'm like, I'm okay with flying, but body morphing is where I draw the line
No,
because
everyone's got a line.
I think most things are up to interpretation of the individual player. I've never really given it too much thought because I've never played a solid caster who would sort of do the transfer. I've never really played a healer. That's not me.
That's
So
totally me. I
I
love playing a
don't worry.
healer.
I don't worry too much about healing. Actually, I am playing a healer in our Parasang game, but I think I've healed people once.
Once, I think,
I've not,
maybe.
at a stretch. I just haven't had the need. And the only person, oddly enough, the only person that I have offered healing to and always gets rejected is Banshee.
Banshee gets hurt a lot because she doesn't give a fuck. She's like, I'll just sit
Yeah.
in the sun and regrow. It's fine.
Ooh, I have new toy.
What is it?
this new toy?
It is the Savage Worlds Adventure deck.
Ooh. How
So
is new
basically,
toy?
I've not actually tried it. We're going to be playing Savage Worlds on Wednesday, so I will be breaking it out. So the way it works is just basically giving players prompts and bonuses that they can use in a session, but they are sort of narratively focused. So yeah, I thought, I figured I might as well try and level up my Savage Worlds game.
I got some new toys too. I got the Between Times Haphazard cards for the system Riverbank. The system Riverbank was written by Kij Johnson. And Kij Johnson wrote one of my favorite books when I was younger, Fidoki, which is about a dying empress. And as she's writing, she is writing about this cat's journey through Japan, and it's like it's like unclear if she is imagining this journey or not. Not cat, like fox. It's unclear if she's imagining the journey or if she's somehow inciting this journey that is actually happening. But in any case, I have loved this writer for so long, but I just got the Riverbank haphazard Between Times haphazardry cards. So I think it's like between like scenes and the like, you can look up like, you found a piece of machinery that isn't working. What is it? A bicycle, an apple peeler, a Franklin stove? Do you repair it or find someone else to repair it? Do you sell it? To whom? What did you do with the proceeds? Or the haphazardry is the weather gets abruptly worse and stays that way, are just examples. And so I'm pretty excited about this.
That sounds exciting.
Is anyone else hearing like a banging sound?
Yes.
I hear my heater kicking on.
I hear your
Is that
heater
your-
kicking on, but I don't know what the banging was.
I
Was
don't
it
know
me?
what the banging is.
It wasn't me.
It's kind of stopped now.
Yeah, it's
I can like smack my mic if that makes everything better.
No, I think
Bad
it's
mic.
good.
Psh, psh.
But yeah, that heater turning on sounded like a spaceship.
Yeah, our heater is aggressive.
No, at least you know it's working.
But just a
it is
little bit
warmer.
more information about Riverbank. Riverbank is about basically you play animal folk in a sort of English countryside type dealio. And I'm excited to play it. I have to read more about the rules.
It does look very Wind in the Willows sort of vibe, doesn't it? It looks interesting. I think we have actually covered this on this show.
I've probably talked about it a couple times.
I think we could, but I'm going back a couple of years now. Maybe I think there might have
no,
been.
Riverbank is new. Riverbank is new.
Has it been Was it kickstarted though?
Possibly, yes.
I think we probably covered it or at least mentioned it during the Kickstarter. I've just got vague memories of. I think it was probably with Justin when Justin was back on the show. I think we covered it then. But it does look really cute. It looks really whimsical. I like that. Something different to play. But yeah, so we played. We got back to Fabula Ultima the other day, which was such a good laugh. It was good to kind of get back. My character is in a position now where he just can't give a fuck anymore, which is great for me because that kind of lets me lean into the comedy of not giving a fuck anymore. But we also played Delta Green the week previously.
Yeah, how did that go?
And it went great because I nearly lost. Yeah, there was nearly 2 characters lost. I'm talking very close. One of them was an illusion that basically, if they failed enough times, they would just get lost to it and never come back. But the other one, and this is kind of where I want to kind of frame the question. The players were given 3 possible avenues in order to reach the same objective. It was very questy. It was very, oh, if you do this for this NPC, they're going to show you the way forward. And there were 3 options. So they went with, let's say, option A. Option A was the illusion that they managed to kind of bypass, and they got to where they needed to go. They got their objective. But one of the players then went and insisted on doing option 2 and almost died. So my question is, to what point do you kind of insinuate to players that what they're doing is incredibly stupid? How much leeway do you give them?
As a player, so from a player's perspective, if I'm going to go off and do something incredibly stupid, let me. Because if my character dies, that's on me. That is 100% on me. B, it is a huge learning lesson as a player.
My question, though, to that is separating the player from the character.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we discussed it a couple of weeks back with Zoom.
Yeah, we did.
Where
You
you
want
kinda-
to make
wait.
sure.
You want to make sure that the player's choice is in line with the characters. So, like, for example, in this particular instance, I actually said, just before you do this, your character had this objective.
Mm-hmm.
You have now succeeded at that. So there's no real reason your character would go, we need to do this. And they still did it. It's on them. But so that's the point. So where do you kind of draw the line and kind of go, nah, that's it. If he dies, he dies.
You need to just, I think that it is important to make sure that the player understands the things that the character knows that might not be intuitive to the player. But once they have all of the information, like, your character has, like, you can say, okay, do you take tunnel A, B, or C? And before they choose A, B, or C, you can say, your character knows that tunnel A is prone to like earthquakes, and your character knows that tunnel B, like, by smelling the wind, your character can smell that there is fresh air at the end of tunnel B, and in tunnel C you can hear the whirling of machinery, and you're aware that you are in a tunnel where there are kobolds, and kobolds like to build traps that often use machinery. Like, as long as they have then been given all of the information that the character knows, then, like, if they're like, I want to go the earthquake route, like, that's fine. Like, as long as they know that. I have seen, like, times where the player is like, I want my character to do this, because they don't realize a bunch of the the things that their character sees. Like, I want to jump on that walk, and then I want to jump from like the walk that's on the stove, and I want to jump from the walk to like that clothesline. And you're like, okay, your character does know it's on fire and the oil in it is hot. Like, know that like maybe the player is sitting there thinking the stove is off and the wok is just there and it's going to make a funny sound. And once you give them the information that like your character sees that it is on and it is boiling hot oil, after that, it's up to them.
Yeah. So how much information do you give? Because I mean, the way I see it, you walk into a room, and as a GM, I describe said room. I say there is a stove that is on. There is a wok on the stove full of hot oil. Do you then bother reminding them, or do you just kind of go, fuck it, they've
Yes.
had the information?
No, I would.
No, I like when I get a little bit of a reminder, because that reminder might change what I do as a player. So like
Yeah.
if it's an action sequence, like if it's combat or whatever, and you're in a kitchen and there's a wok on the stove with hot oil, instead of jumping onto the stove, I'm gonna grab the wok and hit someone in the face.
Yeah.
And I may have forgotten when you were describing the
Mhm.
whole room, like I've got a little bit of ADHD. I'm like all over the place. I'm like not completely paying attention to, like, I caught the bit about the unraveling rug, but I didn't catch the bit about the stove being on.
Mhm.
I think it's interesting. I think it is an interesting question as to how much you kind of guide the players and how much you, because I mean, to be honest, sometimes it depends what mood I'm in. Sometimes if it is a case of, especially if it's in a low stakes thing, if it's something that's just going to give them a slap on the wrist, it's like, fuck
Well,
it,
like
just learn.
on Friday, my character basically ignored the major combat that was happening because she was like, "Oh, that's the person? That's the person who fucked my life? I'm going after revenge." And like ignored all of the major combat that was happening and kind of like left her whole fucking group and just beelined it for the person and she was like, "Yeah, I'm going to go do this by myself. I do not care if I live or die." But that was a character driven thing.
Yeah.
So like my storyteller didn't be like, "Oh, are you sure you want to do that?" Because like he knew that I wanted revenge.
But like, I wouldn't blame your storyteller if they were like, as you choose to do this, your character is aware of the fact that they are leaving their party members behind and in a
Mhm.
bad state. Like, I wouldn't blame them. And then you can say, yeah, I know.
Yep, I did. I essentially he was like, "Is that what you want to do?" And I was like, "Sure fucking yeah." Mhm. I'm gonna
Yeah,
pop this guy's lungs like a grape. Mhm.
I've had players that have done the opposite, where they've kind of leaned into the mechanics of the situation and the fact that it was a combat, than reacting as their characters would normally react. So there was in the party there were two of the characters that were in a relationship, and it was all very lovey-dovey and this, that, and the other. And when one of them would get dropped, the other one would just carry on because it was combat. It's like,
yeah. See, this is where I see a lot of this, and I do this too. As a player, I tend to be always role play forward and kind of forget that like combat is happening, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna go after my fucking story. And like then I will find myself in groups of people who are very like deal with one thing at a time, And I don't think either approach is necessarily bad as long as you're doing check-ins and being like, okay, but is that what your character would do? How would your character actively react to
Mm.
seeing their lover, for example, go down?
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily think that that's bad for GMs to do a little check-in,
Mm.
because
Yeah.
some people are very like rules as written, combat oriented, and like especially if you're doing like bigger emotion stories,
Mm.
having those little check-ins aren't bad. Taking the player away from what's actively happening and getting into their headspace.
Mm.
Yeah. I was in a home game this week where, well, the week before, um where basically it was masks, and the five of us um ended up in a room where there was no escape.
Mm.
Um and basically we had the choice for us all to get captured. And my character decided to do something to make it so that the other four players could escape.
Yeah.
Um, and she would be caught. And I think that it would have been absolutely reasonable for my GM to be like, okay, so first of all, you understand that if you're caught, like, this is the government that is standing in front of you. And like, you know that if they catch you, like X, Y, and Z can happen. And then I can be like, yeah, my character would know that, or no, my character doesn't pay attention to what the government does.
Mm.
So no, I don't realize that. But like the other thing that the GM would be completely free to say is, okay, if you do this, you realize that you are going to be captured. Your character is going to be captured, and the other four are going to be free, and that means I'm going to have to concentrate on them for a while, and you're going to be out of the scene for a while. Like,
Mhm.
you're going to have to spend a bunch of time just sitting there while we resolve other things. And like, so there's two parts to it. It's like, A, would your character do this? But B, also as a player, know what the stakes are of your action. And I would have gone, yes, absolutely. Take me out off the board for a little while and let them figure it out. And then once they figure out the next couple of steps, you can bring me back in. And I'm totally
Mm.
okay with that. Like, that's not so much something you would do on a streamed game, but like in a home game, I'm like, I'm totally fine with that. Like,
Oh, for sure.
I'm just doing
Yeah.
like a puzzle on my phone, and just like paying, half attention to what's going on. And I'm
Mm.
totally okay with that, because that gave like the other four a chance to move the story forward and bring myself back in.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's just an example. We've talked about the Lintha situation where I didn't have the knowledge, like I didn't understand exactly how bad cannibal pirates were viewed by the rest of creation. Um uh and I also I had another home game where my power, uh I was an alien, and my power was I had a ship on the moon that if I could see the sky, I could open a portal to my ship
Mhm.
Mm.
wherever I was. And what happened, what I didn't understand, I was like breaking into a convoy and trying to steal like a pack of weapons. And what wasn't made clear to me was how little time I had
Yeah.
to do this. Like,
Mm.
as as the actual character, the character would realize this is how much time I have based on what's going on outside, and
Yeah.
make the decision accordingly. I did not understand that. So I was like trying to drag it into the holding bay so that then I could jump in. And once it like I discovered like what was going to go wrong with that, when I was like finally understood like what my character understood, I was like, wait, if I had known that, if she knew that, like she wouldn't do
Yeah.
this. And so the GM allowed us to use somebody else's powers to like wind back time so I could make a different thing. But again, I think that that's one of the things that makes a home game superior to a streamed game
Mhm.
for shenanigans and the like, is the ability to be able to turn back time and say, okay, there was something you didn't understand, we can retcon it, is much
Mhm.
Yeah.
easier in a home game than a streamed game.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
This is also why I like pre-records versus like streams. I'm a little spoiled baby now. I started off streaming. I did. I really did. I started off just making raw dog decisions on stream and just going with it and having fun. However,
Can I just point
I
out that
am-
Raw Dog Decisions is going to be the title of this episode? Just-
I now absolutely prefer the option to be like, "Ooh, whoa, I actually don't like how that happened. Can we go back and fix that?" Or, "Ooh, I actually wouldn't do that if I had understood X, Y, and Z. Can we go back and like do that?" And like if you do that in a streamed game, like you can, there's definitely that option too, but it definitely makes everything slower and clunkier and it kind of like ruins the immersion a little bit. So like
Hmm.
I'm a bougie girl. I really like my pre-records. I will agree to a pre-record versus like just an actual stream. I'll still do actual streams. I just did one like a month-long one on Folk and Myth. But like I definitely have a preference.
Yeah, I don't think I could. I mean, I've done pre-records. I don't think I'd do any sort of streaming.
I mean, we're
I
all
think it also
streaming now.
depends. It
Yeah,
depends
but
on
not-
how how
we're not
serious,
trying to-
how deep the story is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
trust me,
like,
there is nobody watching this kind of going, "Wow, I feel immersed." There's-
what? I could try.
You can try bringing some, but nobody's watching this kind of going, "Oh, for fuck's sake, I was getting it." No,
I was
it's
so
a different
immersed
thing.
well, there's sometimes when Zoop's talking that I'm just like, you just keep
Zoop does
yapping.
paint-
It's cool.
Zoop does paint a really good word picture.
Wait, was that like it's going well, or is that she's talking too much and I'm zoning out?
No, in a good way. It's just like you could just keep going because like sometimes my neurodivergent ass is like, I don't want to yap. Oh, I'm so glad someone else is willing to do it. Fuck yeah. And then there's these times where like I will just be here and you'll be talking and I'm like, oh, this is lovely. Yeah, I like this. This is great. And
See,
like so
we get to
immersion does happen.
Yeah, we get to experience what our listeners experience.
Uh-huh.
We get to sit there and just kind of go, "Yeah, Zoop's telling the story. It's great, and we love it."
I mean it in the most loving way possible.
No,
Just so you
Oh, I
100%.
know. I'm talkative.
Yeah, but that's a good thing. You're on
That
a
is a good
podcast.
thing.
You're meant to be talkative on a podcast.
One of
Yeah.
the most awkward things for me is like when the GM is like, "So what do you do?" And there's just silence. And I'm like,
It's horrible. It is.
Should I should I
hate
talk right
that.
now? I should talk right now. But wait, is that stepping on everyone's toes? Okay, maybe I shouldn't talk right now. But there's too much silence. I must talk right now.
Oh, what a mood though.
Yeah, but as a GM, having that person who you know is gonna be able to not only fill the silence, but also to kind of drive the story forward, to kind of be able to rely on them and just kind of, okay, so what do you guys do? zoop, and just kind of have that person who you can kind of throw the ball to, and they will help kind of bring everybody along.
Yeah.
Not having that person at a table sucks.
Listen,
Yeah.
I'm out here. It really depends on the character, because like I have some characters that are like straight face characters. I built them to be the face of the party, and everyone it's like, oh, okay, cool, great. Let the extroverted person be the face of the party. They know what they're doing. And then there are times where I build like very introverted characters, because I am on that spectrum of like omniverted, where I can either be introverted or extroverted. Blah, blah, blah. I was about to say outroverted, and I was like, that's not right. That's not right.
That's not a
Yeah,
word.
introverted,
Right word.
outroverted. That makes total sense.
It makes so much sense. Thank you.
It does.
So, but like I'm on that spectrum, so like I can go one way or the other, and it's not a big deal for me. And then there are those special tables where everyone is extrovert or introverted, and I have built an introverted character. I'm like, oh crap, I gotta be extroverted now. Fuck, I wasn't prepared. My character's not statted out for this.
I mean, the thing that I've enjoyed more recently is building characters who are not the face of the party. They should
Mhm.
not be the face of the party, but they are unaware of this fact. And yeah, and they still act as though they're the face of the party. And I think it was one session where Winter just goes, I love how you just casually insult people. And I can't remember what I said. It was something about somebody's clothes. And it was like, so where can we find some professionally made clothes or something like that?
I think you were talking to a homeless person at the time. I'm gonna be for
Oh,
real.
so-
I don't remember. Or no. It wasn't. It wasn't.
It was a
homeless person.
seamstress.
We
I
gave
think
the
it was a
homeless person nice clothing.
Yeah, it was a
He-
seamstress or something like
yeah,
that.
and they were a total dick bag. So
And,
Shepard
and-
was like, "Oh, you're just an asshole, but I'm gonna insult you."
but the thing is, in Shepard's mind, he wasn't insulting. He was just being overly logic.
Mm.
And I
Mhm.
think it was just like, oh, so where do we find the good clothes or something like that? Oh, God, I miss Shepard.
He's so fun.
Ah.
I
Yeah,
have-
I need to get back to playing Shepard.
I have a different question.
Okay, bring it.
Have you ever created a character with a backstory, a deep enough backstory, and played it at two different tables and had them be completely different?
Yes, very commonly, yes. It's crazy. So like I have a character that I played forever ago, and his name is Wick, and I love him to pieces. He is my intergalactic criminal. He's a master thief. He literally, okay, Wick was modeled after Lupin the Third, and if anyone like, yeah, he's the French gentleman criminal. And I have played Wick. I played Wick in his original story, which was the Wild Beyond Witchlight campaign. And then I brought him to a different table where he played him again, and like same character, wildly different story.
So what, like, did his personality change, or what?
I wouldn't say his personality changed, but the way he reacted to things changed as
Okay.
he evolved with the story, and that alone, like one group taught him that punching and arson was the way to go. Another group taught him that stealth and stealing was the best way to go. So like one game he burnt everything to the ground. Because he was taught that arson was the most like effective tool. The other one, he ransacked an entire city and left and basically pulled a Robin Hood, and didn't feel bad about it, and left a high valued magical item in the hands of a 5-year-old because chaos for the sake of chaos. So very different, same character, very different outcomes, and that is because he learned two very different mindsets. And I love that. I don't necessarily replay characters, especially if I feel like they had a really gratifying story.
Oh yeah.
But Wick is one of those characters where I love him so much that I will absolutely jump into his shoes anytime. He is a very, very special character to me.
I have done it in the in a spiritual sense, where I've played a character, and then due to circumstance, we've played a different game in a different system, but I've brought another character in modeled after the first one, and it's because the first time I ever played a TTRPG, it was in my friend Scott's game, and it was 4 friends. It was Couch, who's a friend of the show, Justin, who used to be hosting, Chris, me, and we all had our characters. So when we met Stefan, who is one of the owners of 13th Moon Games, who brought out Covenant Crucible, a really, really interesting witchcrafty sort of game. If you're into that, highly recommend it. And he ran us through a one shot, which you can find on our channel. And it just so happened that the 4 people that we started playing tabletop role playing games together were in that game. We all kind of, first time we've played together all together in since. So we all created versions of our original characters for this campaign, and it was good because my character was still a dickbag. He was just as much of a cunt as he always has been, and it was fantastic. It was so much fun.
So I have a character. It's she's specifically for masks, the new generation. And she is a Nova, which is kind of like the high magic powered uh character. And there are 2 facades that you can have. You can have the happy facade or the locked down facade. And the first time I played her, I hadn't quite decided what she was going to be, but like her entrance into it was that she got into a fight by herself, ended up rolling so poorly that she immediately got ejected from the fight. And so when the other 3 heroes appeared, she was kind of lower status to them. And so went with the happy facade. At that point I chose the happy facade because she was lower status, she was like, "Oh my god, you guys are so cool." Like um and like immediately like the one that stopped to talk to her immediately latched on to him as like her mentor, and just ended up playing like a lower status, like happy, kind of innocent. um and she has the same trauma in both games. The second time I played her, and I was pretty unsatisfied with the way that I played her in that first one. It very much, I got caught in a like, I can't get anywhere with this character. The second time I played her, I chose the lockdown facade, and very much started like we all started on the same page, because in the first one I came in later and she had just started as a superhero. So she and the rest of them had been there for a while. In the second one, we all started as superheroes at the same time. And so she came off as like much more sarcastic and mean and guarded and broken.
Hmm.
Um and I think she's really cool. She's suffered a lot of traumas that I haven't. So there are times where I'm like, I don't know if the characterization is consistent. But it could also be that like if you are a young adult with trauma that sometimes your characterization isn't consistent.
Yeah.
Um I don't know if that's true, but I think so.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, it's just very interesting to see her in like the same backstory, and she ended up being two different people. And like in the first game, my partner was also playing a character, and he was like, "Yeah, my character would never be into your character." And then in the second, and I'm like, okay, yeah, no, that's fine. In the second game, he's actually the storyteller, and he was like, yeah, my character in the other game would actually be into this
Hmm.
version of her because
So
she's like, instead of like that like puppy dog like innocent thing going on,
Mm.
she's like much
yeah,
more
so
in
she's
touch with the
grizzled.
trauma.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So was there like a time lapse between the two stories?
Yes. There was a
Yeah.
little bit of time lapse, so there was, more ability for me to think about her. There was the difference of uh how she was brought in, the fact that she was brought in the first one in a much lower status way than in the
Hmm.
second one where we were all equal. And then there was the difference in the GM
Yeah.
and what the GM could stomach. Like, I know my partner can take me being like a little brat uh
Hmm.
to to his like NPCs, whereas the person who was GMing the other one, I had played in a previous game, and when my character was a little brat, they were like, "Are we okay? Is everything okay? I think that like there must be like some communication issues between us." And I'm like, "No. She's just a moody teenager." like like she's just a moody teenager who's like getting annoyed with like every adult you bring into the situation. They're not an issue between you and me.
Yeah, it's just a
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fair. I mean, I can't think of any other examples where I've done that. Um I have it I as a GM, one of the campaigns I'm running now, which is a Delta Green campaign, there is a time lapse. So you do one part of the campaign and then you pick it up 25 years later. And it's been interesting to see how those characters have changed
Oh, I
because
see what you
there
mean
are
by time
mechanical implications.
lapse.
Yeah.
Okay, no. In this case, there wasn't a time lapse. They started at about the same age in both of them.
Fair enough. But yeah, I mean, in Impossible Landscapes, there is a 25-year time lapse, and they do explore the changes in the player characters, but also from a mechanical standpoint as well. So you can actually roll to kind of have an idea of how those 25 years and whatever they've been doing for those 25 years have affected the characters. And it's a really interesting sort of shift in the campaign. So I'd be interested in doing that. I'd be interested in having a character that was in two different times,
Yeah.
essentially.
I should try that. I should do that with my character Tank. Tank is one of my most beloved characters. I talk about them all the time. My little Yusoki technomancer from a Starfighter game. And like I was so satisfied with her story. I don't necessarily want to step back into those shoes. or
Mm.
into her little paw pads, as it was. Um, but at the same time, I fucking adore Tink. Like,
Mm.
she was such a fun character. So the idea of bringing her back after like 10-ish years of from the story that she did tell is kind of fun. I do like that idea.
I would
Mm.
want to bring Purvi Patel back. So Purvi Patel is the first character that I played across from my partner when we weren't partners. We were just people who were meeting each other for the first time. And
Aw.
our characters, my character very, very, very obviously had a crush on his character. And it ended before anything could happen. But
Aw.
now we have like their full life story um like figured out, and like a whole bunch of stuff has happened in between, but it would be really fun to play them like 10 years down the
Mm.
line. Like we've talked about like doing a one shot of like right before they get married when someone steals their rings. um and so then they have to like get the team back together to go get the rings back. um but it would be really fun to play them as like older.
Yeah, I think that's a really cool thing. I and I may have mentioned this previously. I once read a synopsis for a Lost Boys TV show they were thinking of doing, where every season would be in a different sort of era, featuring the same characters who are immortals, etc., etc. And I immediately went, "Oh, that's going to be a VTM campaign if I ever do one." So I think
Yeah,
that'd
that
be a
would be
really cool dynamic of kind of, all right, so you are now in whatever time period, the Victorian time period, and we're picking it up 50 years later. What has happened in those 50 years? What has changed? How has your character changed? So yeah,
that's fun.
I'd be
That's a fun
interested in
thought
doing that.
exercise.
Yeah,
I know, right?
fan fiction helps that out. I mean, I it
So,
doesn't, if I'm writing fiction about a character I've played, is that fan fiction or is
Yes, it is still technically
is
fan
it still
fiction.
technically fan fiction?
Well, because
it
like,
is,
okay,
it is.
I have written out, it will never see the light of day. Don't ask anyone. It's never gonna see the light of day. But I definitely have written out a whole fanfic of around Aster's tattoos, my little thin blood that I play on
Mm.
Vampire with No Name. I have written she's got thousands of dollars worth of tattoos. And all of them were wedding presents
From
that
different
her
weddings or a single
no
wedding?
from a single wedding. So the first set was she's got magnolias that come up into her armpit and then all the way down on her sides, and she's got them matching on both sides. Um, and that was her initial wedding present, and then she's got several other tattoos that were anniversary presents, but they were all picked out by her husband at the
Mm.
time.
I
Um,
like the pause before you said husband. That pause said so much.
it's
So,
it's
so
complicated.
has any of that come about during the show of Vampire with No Name?
Uh-uh.
No, nothing
Like
at all.
we talk about her tattoos because like
Mm.
she Aster wears a lot of sheer clothing or like crop
Mm.
tops, so like they don't having that much ink on your flesh is really hard to hide unless you're
Mm.
wearing like completely covered all the time, and like my girl is definitely not. She's like, I'm
Yeah.
hot, I know it.
Mm.
So like
So did you write this before or after playing the character?
a little bit after playing the character. So
Okay.
we wrapped up
Mm.
season 1's recording, and I was like, I'm gonna write this story. Beep, 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 beep.
Who knows? It could be a flashback. Could be
It could
explored.
be. I could.
Mm.
It's a really hot and horny. It is definitely not for. No, the world will never see it because it's definitely hot and horny. But like, I definitely did do it. I did write a fanfic about my own character, and it
All
wasn't
right,
really a
and
fanfic so much as like, uh, these are things that are true about the character.
Yeah,
But
isn't that
because I'm still-
backstory technically?
Technically, yeah.
The instant you write smut into your like to your backstory, I think it teeters into fanfic territory.
No.
Okay. I think we should definitely keep this for another conversation another day.
Next
Back-
week we will have the
Next week,
conversation
backstory
of
of
what makes a
fanfic. And we should bring this to an end.
Yes.
And I think that's a
Yes.
great ending point. So if you guys want to kind of promote and plug where you can read Asta's fanfic, yeah.
Just not gonna see the light of day. Ain't no one gonna see that. It'll get mentioned. You know what? I will make sure that it gets at least mentioned
Yeah.
in season 2.
Sounds good. So
Somewhere.
speaking of, where can people see and listen to season 1?
Yes, you can go and listen literally any podcatcher that you like. We are on there. It is Dubious Creature Presents Vampire with No Name. There is 9 or 10 episodes out now. I don't remember.
There is a
I'd have to
number
look at
of
my notes.
episodes out. Yeah.
I am incredibly biased when I say I think it's an amazing show. It's hard hitting. Please read the content warnings on each episode. I cannot stress that enough. The first few episodes aren't very bad. As we get deeper into the season, those content warnings get a little bit longer. So please read them. I beggeth you. We also have transcripts if you don't want to listen to the episode or you can't for whatever reason. We do have full transcripts of each episode up on our website where you can also see the character art and get little fun tidbits about the world itself and San Arroyo, the city that we are in. We are also doing a movie night tonight in our Discord.
Yeah.
We're watching Underworld. I know a bunch of vampire people watching Underworld, which is a story about vampires. Very original. I get it, but it's cute and fun, and it's something that we started doing after season 1 wrapped up. Is we decided as a group, because we still wanted to meet up and like hang out and spend time together, that we started doing weekly movie nights, and now we are extending those weekly movie nights to our audience.
That's fantastic. That sounds like a great idea. Yeah. About Zoop, what have you got to kind of plug and tell us about?
So Game Master Monday is on hiatus. We will be on hiatus until I think April. But in the meantime, I am editing the last 2 episodes that I had run, and then Grant's going to do soundscaping on those, and those will be out in April, and then there will be a mini series, and we will get started with that again. There's probably other stuff happening, a lot of plans in my head. We will see. The 4th Monday of every month. Right now I'm GMing a Queer and Cozy on Imagine If, which is telling queer and cozy stories. I'm every other Monday I'm on D&D with D, playing a high level D&D game where I am half cleric, half rogue, but all intelligence based. So that's interesting. And we recently started an indie game, an indie game once a month. So we did Whiskers and Claws, which is a Lasers and Feelings knockoff. I don't know. I'm probably doing other stuff. At some point I should update my card. But the most exciting part, Con Zero is going to be from April 30th to May 3rd in the spring. This is not taking place during any other convention. So the idea is to bring people who generally cannot go to conventions and people who generally have to go to conventions together for a convention. So it is going to be now our flagship. We are not going to be running Convention Zero during Gen Con this year. But we will have a server open for like people to hang out, but we won't be doing all the programming that we're going to be doing for this Convention Zero, and then we'll have Convention Zero during PAX U again. But you can follow, I made a new threads, it's convention_0 to follow for information there, or there's Convention Zero on Blue Sky. And we are going to be posting all of our information coming up pretty soon. And I really hope that you come and have a good time at a free online con.
Amazing. I can't wait to take part and help with whatever I can. You know, they've got my number. Just give me a shout.
Yeah, absolutely.
As for me, you can find me on most social media sites. I am kind of getting slowly back into it, but very, very limited capacity. I've got other things I can be doing in the meantime. So, but I want to say a huge thank you to the Dungeon Maestro for the use of our theme tune. I also want to say thank you to the both of you for joining me this evening. I want to say thank you to everyone who's joined us in chat. It's great to see you guys. It's great to hang out. And most importantly of all, I want to say thank you to everyone who's taken time out of their busy day to listen to us waffle on about tabletop role-playing games. Thank you very much. Good night.
Bye-bye.